looking to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Hello, I'm Maricar Velasco. Welcome to ASEAN in Focus, delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region. On today's headlines, a Philippine ex-banker was handed a lengthy jail term and a $109 million fine Thursday in the first conviction over one of the biggest ever cyber heists, which saw $81 million stolen from Bangladesh's central bank. Beijing has announced that its so-called carrier-killer anti-ship missile has been deployed to the country's northwest, just a day after the U.S. Navy sailed a warship past disputed islands in the South China Sea. Australia's Foreign Minister Marise Payne has declined to put a time frame on how soon Australian authorities will be able to reach a decision on whether to offer asylum to Saudi teenager Rahaf Al-Qunun. And an Indonesian third grader walks to school on his hands. A Philippine ex-banker was handed a lengthy jail term and a $109 million fine Thursday in the first conviction over one of the biggest ever cyber heist, which saw $81 million stolen from Bangladesh's central bank. A Manila court found Maya De Guito, who was an RCBC branch manager where the money landed, guilty on 8 counts of money laundering, which carry a minimum of 4 years each behind bars. The court also ordered her to pay $109 million in fines. De Guito plans to appeal and can remain free on bail until the conviction is finalized. Authorities charged that De Guito helped coordinate in the transfer of the money, which was taken from Bangladesh's reserves accounts at the Federal Reserve Bank in the United States. De Guito is the only person who has been convicted in the case, which has drawn international concern. Her lawyer, Demetrio Custodio, told media, adding that his client had been turned into a scapegoat. A North Korean hacker is also wanted by the United States on charges he and a state-sponsored hacking crew masterminded the Bangladesh heist. Only $15 million of the money was recovered after it landed in the Philippines and was quickly dispersed. Tens of millions of the loot disappeared into Manila's casinos, which were at the time exempt from rules aimed at preventing money laundering. The Philippine Central Bank imposed a record $21 million fine on RCBC after the discovery of the heist, as it investigated the lender's alleged role in the theft. The U.S. Reserve Bank, which manages the Bangladesh bank account, has denied its own systems were breached. Meanwhile, after the conviction of Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation or RCBC bank manager Maya De Guito in relation to the $81 million bank heist, the Bangladesh embassy in Manila urged the Philippine government to expedite the case against other RCBC officials involved. In a statement sent to the Philippine News Agency or PNA, Bangladesh Ambassador Asada Alam Siam said the Department of Justice is handling another case against 6 other RCBC executives involved in the stolen funds of Bangladesh Bank. Makati Regional Trial Court Branch 149 on Thursday found De Guito guilty for money laundering and was sentenced to 4 to 7 years of prison each for 8 counts of money laundering. De Guito is the former branch manager of RCBC Jupiter Makati, where part of the stolen money was transferred and deposited to 4 US dollar accounts under the names of Michael F. Cruz, Jesse Christopher M. Lagrosas, Alfred S. Vergara, and Enrico T. Vasquez. Two Reuters journalists jailed in Myanmar over their investigation of atrocities committed against the Rohingya will learn Friday if an appeal against their conviction has succeeded. Reporters Wallone 32 and Kiaoso 28 were arrested in Yangon in December 2017 and later sentenced to 7 years in jail for violating the State Secrets Act, a charge supporters say is trumped up. Prosecutors said they had classified information regarding security operations in Rakhine State, from where hundreds of thousands of Rohingya Muslims fled during an army-led crackdown the United Nations has dubbed ethnic cleansing. At the time of the arrest, they were probing a massacre of 10 Rohingya. The two men have insisted they were the victims of a police setup, pointing to testimony from a serving officer who said a superior ordered others to entrap them. The trial was widely regarded as a sham and seen as punishment for their probe, sparking outrage around the world, including from U.S. Vice President Mike Pence. Lawyers representing the young men said the Yangon Regional High Court, in its ruling expected later Friday, could uphold the sentences, reduce the terms, or quash the convictions. Beijing has announced that its so-called carrier-killer anti-ship missile has been deployed to the country's northwest just a day after the U.S. Navy sailed a warship past disputed islands in the South China Sea. China's DF-26 ballistic missile, which reportedly has a range of 3,000 to 4,000 kilometers, was mobilized to the country's northwest plateau and desert areas, the state-run Global Times newspaper reported Tuesday, quoting national broadcaster CCTV. While the actual deployment date was not mentioned, the timing of the reporter's release coincided with the U.S. Freedom of Navigation operation near Chinese-held islands in the South China Sea's Paracel chain on Monday. In the FONOP, which Washington conducts globally to challenge maritime claims it considers excessive, the U.S. Navy sent the Yokosuka, Kanagawa Prefecture-based USS McCampbell guided missile destroyer near the islands, a move China blasted as a provocation. The Global Times reported alluded to the U.S. operation, quoting an unidentified expert as noting that the deployment is a good reminder that China is capable of safeguarding its territory. Australia's Foreign Minister Marise Payne has declined to put a time frame on how soon Australian authorities will be able to reach a decision on whether to offer asylum to Saudi teenager Rahaf Al-Qunun. The Minister for Foreign Affairs, who was speaking in Thailand after talks with Thai government officials, said Australia was engaged in the process of assessing Ms. Al-Qunun's claim for asylum. However, she stopped short of saying how long the claim would take to be processed.
Australia is now engaged in the steps of the assessment process of Ms. Al-Qunun as required. We're concerned about any potential for return of Mr. Al-Arabi to Bahrain. Following the UNHCR referral, Australia is now going through the steps that we are required to do in relation to the assessment process. There is no possibility that Ms. Al-Qunun will be going back with me, as you put it, today. That is because there are steps which are required in the process which Australia and any other country considering such a matter would have to go through.
Rahaf Mohammed Al-Qunun's attempt to flee the ultra-conservative kingdom has become a cause célèbre for rights groups since the 18-year-old landed in Bangkok from Kuwait over the weekend. Qunun alleges abuse by her family, while rights groups also said she had renounced Islam, risking prosecution in conservative Saudi Arabia. Her father, who denies mistreating her, will remain in Bangkok until he knows which country she is going to. Thailand's Immigration Police Chief Surachate Hakparn told reporters Thursday.
นะว่าเขาก็มีความประสงค์อยากจะรับลูกเนี่ยกลับไปบ้านนะครับแล้วก็ขณะนี้ภรรยาเขาก็ป่วยหนักนะเพราะว่าก็ทราบเรื่องลูกสาวแล้วก็ไม่สบายใจอันนี้ก็เป็นเรื่องภายในครอบครัวนะครับก็คุณพ่อเขามีพูดบ้างนะครับคุณพ่อเขามีพูดบ้างว่าลูกเขามีอะไรฮะเขามีลูกถึง10 คนนะฮะที่ทราบเนี่ยเขามีลูกถึง10 คนนะก็เขาบอกว่าลูกสาวอาจจะน้อยใจบ้างอะไรบ้างนะครับนะเขาพูดคุยฮะทางคุณพ่อก็ยืนยันว่าเขาดูแลลูกอย่างดีไม่มีการบังคับขู่เข็นไม่มีการทำร้ายนะครับนะฮะคุณพ่อเขายืนยันว่าไม่ใช่นะครับนะคุณพ่อเขาบอกว่าไม่ได้บังคับให้มีการแต่งงานที่เขาบอกเมื่อกี้นะครับ
Saudi Arabia has come under fire since the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi in the country's consulate in Istanbul last year. Indonesian third grader Muklis Abdul Holik begins the long haul to school with a knapsack strapped to his back and hands stuffed into a pair of sandals to guard against road burn.
Jalannya terjal di atas setiap hari. Kalau misalnya ada ongkos, kalau pulang naik ojek, kalau nggak ada jalan. Aduh, nggak pernah ngeluh, dia semangat terus, semangat. Alhamdulillah, aduh nggak pernah dia ngeluh, walaupun hujan, mau panas, dia tetap.
Makanan, terus dokter, terus akhirnya.
Visiting the Philippines, Manila or Quezon City is a popular destination. But oftentimes the hustle and bustle of the city can be more stressful on your vacation. So when you feel the need to reconnect to nature or relax again, there's a beautiful oasis just outside of the city called the Garden at Ciudad de Victoria. That you can see here include hydrangea, snapdragon, and stargazers. They're truly beautiful. The gardens at Ciudad de Victoria are so peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful that it's become a haven for young couples and a very popular venue for engagement photos. The next time you want an escape from the big city, the garden at Ciudad de Victoria is a wonderful place to visit.
Diskusyon, Biyernes alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng gabi.
Welcome back. The Japanese embassy in Manila has allotted a total of $426,168 or about 22.15 million pesos to support sericulture business in the Philippines. On Thursday, Japanese Ambassador Koji Haneda signed the grant contract with the representative of the Organization for Industrial, Spiritual, and Cultural Advancement International, a Japanese non-government organization conducting activities in the Philippines. The provinces of Benguet, Aklan, and Misamis Oriental will benefit from the project through the transfer of similar sericulture business support that has been carried out in Negros Island. Through this grant, the beneficiaries will undergo leadership development, seminars for spreading sericulture operations, short-term training for sericulture farmers, and mulberry field maintenance. While production of textiles is popular in the Philippines, Filipinos commonly rely on imports from other countries for some of its raw silk materials, including those used for traditional costumes such as the Barong Tagalog. The Philippines aims to achieve the domestic production of all silk threads used in the country, making Japan support deployment project for sericulture an essential initiative. Britain will open a representative office in Indonesia to enhance relations with members of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, a senior British official said on Thursday. The ASEAN Representative Office was part of Britain's drive to enhance cooperation with economies worldwide after Brexit. Permanent Under-Secretary at Britain's Foreign and Commonwealth Office, Sir Simon MacDonald said. MacDonald said their focus in the last 45 years has been set in Europe. In the future, they would not entirely leave Europe, as they would apply their more opening drive to the whole world, including to ASEAN country members. He said this on the sidelines of the meeting with ASEAN Deputy Secretary General for Politics and Security Affairs, Huang Antoine. MacDonald further said Britain's representative office for ASEAN would start operation this year after an ambassador is appointed to carry out the assignments. Vietnam is ready to host the 2019 ASEAN Tourism Forum, which will take place in the Ha Long City in the northern province of Quang Ninh from January 14th to 18th, announced the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism at a press conference held in Hanoi on January 9. This is the second time Vietnam has hosted the forum, which is the largest annual event in ASEAN tourism cooperation. The first time Vietnam hosted the event was in 2009. Addressing the conference, MCST Deputy Minister Lê Kec Quang Tung stressed that the ATF 2019 is a great opportunity for ASEAN nations, and in particular Vietnam, to promote their unique destinations to international partners and businesses, as well as major news agencies in the region and around the world. Themed ASEAN, the Power of One, the ATF 2019 will be attended by more than 2,000 delegates, including tourism ministers, leaders of national tourism agencies, travel agents, hotels and resorts, and airlines, as well as news agencies. The event will feature a string of activities, including the ASEAN Tourism Ministers Meeting, the meeting of leaders of the ASEAN National Tourism Organizations, the ASEAN Tourism Forum on Travel Exchange, and the award ceremony for the ASEAN Tourism Awards, among others.
Gorgeous white sandy beaches that stay cool to touch even on the hottest summer days. Blue-green ocean waves and the warm ocean breeze. There's no wonder why Dr. Beach has named Siesta Key, Florida, the #1 beach in the United States. Don't forget to watch episodes of Digital Next every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 p.m. I'm Melissa Protest, coming to you from Siesta Key, Florida, and I am one with 25.
Diskusyon, Biyernes alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng gabi.
Welcome back. With seamless logistics, ASEAN seeks to improve the speed and reliability of ASEAN's supply chains. This is part of the Master Plan on ASEAN Connectivity 2025. Take a look.
The Master Plan on ASEAN Connectivity 2025 is a roadmap towards a shared journey by land, sea and air. It provides a framework for ASEAN to work together to build the connections and infrastructure to allow us to grow. This includes ASEAN's logistics sector, which plays a vital role in ensuring the smooth passage of goods to deliver growth for the region. We live at the heart of one of the most important regions in the world for global trade. ASEAN has well-established and fast-moving logistics networks.
In the past, transit times between Davao, General Santos and Bitung used to take 2 to 3 weeks. With the new Davao, General Santos, Bitung Roro route, transit had been reduced significantly to 2 to 3 days. The goods from both countries are transported faster, cheaper, more economical. So we hope that with this new route, other ASEAN countries will also take the cue from the Philippines and Indonesia and replicate it in their own scenario.
Intra-ASEAN trade amounts to nearly a quarter of our annual total trade flows. Removing trade barriers and cross-border obstacles can therefore significantly decrease time and costs.
We can doing more easy trade within ASEAN. The process between in ASEAN will be more seamless and improvement, such as a common inspection area that we already start between Thai and Laos project. This seamless and more simplify the process of the importation and exportation will make the logistics in ASEAN more strengthened, more simple and faster.
Trade costs and efficiencies vary within the region, and without a competitive logistics landscape, ASEAN will encounter challenges which limit our trading potential. The Master Plan aims to improve the speed and reliability of ASEAN's supply chains. It sets out to evaluate the existing transport time and cost of moving goods within ASEAN. It identifies and addresses bottlenecks and provides a framework for collaboration that will facilitate logistical movement throughout the region.
Hiện nay thì các cái loại tờ khai doanh nghiệp thực hiện về hải quan điện tử theo cái chương trình hệ thống VNAT Vichit do chính phủ Nhật tài trợ. Theo đó thì nó sẽ tạo thuận lợi cho các cái tờ khai, các container an toàn và thông quan nhanh. Và làm như vậy thì nó cũng sẽ tiết kiệm được cái chi phí và những cái thông tin nó sẽ trung thực, khách quan và nó nhanh chóng hơn đối với lại các cộng đồng của doanh nghiệp. Và Hải quan Việt Nam thì cũng được chính phủ và Bộ Tài chính giao cái nhiệm vụ là kết nối hải quan một cửa quốc gia, hải quan ASEAN.
Initiatives such as the ASEAN Single Window will result in lower cross-border costs and improved trade flow. The ASEAN Single Shipping Market will open up the waters of the ASEAN region, while the ASEAN Single Aviation Market will open up the skies. The Master Plan on ASEAN Connectivity 2025, creating seamless logistics to deliver growth for ASEAN.
Going to visit another ASEAN Heritage Park today. This is Sungai Buloh, Singapore's first and only protected wetland reserve and home to over 500 species of tropical flora and fauna. Watch this. And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Maricar Velasco and I am 1 with 25.